Welcome to MovieNest. Let's dive into today's mind-blowing film. In Munich, Germany, an old man stands in front of his bathroom mirror, mumbling to himself. But as the camera shifts, we realize something chilling. An identical version of this man lies dead in the living room. The alive one isn't Ralph at all. He's Jackal, a master of disguise and one of the deadliest assassins alive. Jackal studies his mannerisms, steals his cigarettes, and walks out with his key card, ready for his next move. That night, Jackal, now fully disguised as Ralph, enters a towering building owned by Manfred Fest, a powerful magazine mogul and political figure with ambitions of becoming Germany's next chancellor. The guard at the entrance casually scolds him for being late, even noticing his new backpack. Jackal says nothing, keeping his cold composure, and heads inside. Using Ralph's key card, he reaches the top floor, where he's told that only Elias Fest, Manfred's son, and Jennifer are present. Jackal watches the two argue before slipping away to another room. Inside, he pulls a silenced gun from his bag. When Jennifer suddenly walks in, Jackal doesn't hesitate. He shoots her on the spot. A guard grows suspicious and checks on him, but Jackal executes him too. He then fires at Elias through a glass window, forcing him to flee. Chasing him down the stairs, Jackal shoots Elias in the leg. But strangely, instead of finishing him off, Jackal spares Elias's life and escapes to the rooftop. With smoke bombs and a rope, he vanishes into the night. Back at his hideout, Jackal peels off his flawless disguise, revealing himself to be a much younger man beneath the mask. The next morning, he carefully assembles a sniper rifle in his apartment. Calmly, he waits for his true target. Meanwhile, Manfred Fest is en route to visit his injured son, railing against critics of his anti-immigration policies. Outside the hospital, a furious crowd protests. As Manfred approaches the entrance, Jackal takes aim from a distant perch, and in one perfect shot, ends his life instantly. Chaos erupts. Security traces the sniper's location, but Jackal remains calm. He dismantles his weapon, plants bombs in his apartment and car, and slips away. Minutes later, both explode, erasing all evidence. By the next day, he's in Nuremberg, buying an antique chess set before crossing into France. At the border, he passes inspection with unnerving ease, the chess set serving as perfect cover. In France, Jackal logs into the dark web from a cyber cafe, demanding payment from Munich. Instead of cash, he receives a taunt. "Fuck you." Another offer arrives, €10 million for a new assignment. Furious, Jackal sets up a meeting. Soon, in Sweden, he meets a veiled woman at Lake Malari. She wants him to kill Ulla Dog Charles, UDC. Jackal counters coldly, €100 million, or no deal. Without waiting for her answer, he disappears. Back home in Cadiz, Spain, Jackal surprises his wife, Nura. He hides his weapons in a secret floor safe, but his mood is far from calm. Someone is playing games with him. Meanwhile in London, Bianca, an MI6 agent, examines a new rifle. Mid-conversation, she notices breaking news, the shocking assassination of Manfred Fest. She's stunned. The sniper pulled off a single, flawless shot from 3,815 meters away, an almost impossible distance. In a briefing with German intelligence, she learns no rifle was ever found, only footage of a man walking away with a small briefcase. Bianca argues the weapon must be a custom-made, collapsible rifle, likely designed by Norman Stoke, a legendary Irish gunsmith missing since 2018. Her colleagues doubt her, but Bianca is convinced only Norman could have made a weapon like this. That same day, Bianca arrives at a supermarket in Belfast to meet her contact, Alison. Nervous, Alison warns Bianca that if her husband Larry finds out, she'll be in danger. Larry, as it turns out, is Norman Stoke's brother. Bianca pushes Alison to get Norman's location, but Alison pleads for more time. Bianca insists she needs it tonight. Night passes with no word from Alison. The next morning, Bianca's supervisors press her for updates. Empty-handed, Bianca suggests a different angle, targeting Alison's daughter, Emma, a student in London. Reluctantly, her bosses give her the file. Soon, Bianca spots Emma at a protest, chanting UDC slogans. She orders the police to arrest her for obstruction. At the station, Emma asks for a lawyer but is denied. She can only call her mother. Hours later, Bianca is informed Emma has collapsed. Rushing to the ambulance, Bianca desperately tries to revive her, but Emma dies on the way to the hospital. The next morning, Alison calls, furious. She believes Bianca has thrown her daughter in jail. Not knowing Emma is dead, Alison begs for help. Bianca hides the truth and strikes a deal, Norman's number in exchange for Emma's release. Later, Bianca tells her superiors that Emma already had a heart condition and her death was unavoidable. They introduce her to Carver, a fixer who will bury the scandal. Bianca asks him to keep Emma's death secret for 24 hours. That evening, Alison, desperate, convinces Larry to call Norman for money so they can visit Emma in London. While Larry drinks at a bar, Allison snaps a photo of Norman's number from his phone and secretly sends it to Bianca. With the lead secured, Bianca moves fast. She tracks Norman to a forest hideout, but Norman is ready. He opens fire, killing 2 of her men before vanishing into the woods. All Bianca finds is his abandoned briefcase. Meanwhile in Spain, Jackal finally receives payment for the Munich hit. Furious, he traces the transaction and discovers it was sent from a Munich bank. At the same time, in New York, a group of shady businessmen debates whether Jackal can be trusted to kill Ula Dog Charles, UDC, the billionaire tech genius behind the River, a software threatening to expose hidden money trails worldwide. Leonora, the woman who first approached Jackal, assures them he's the best. They agree to pay him 100 million euros. Back in Spain, Jackal tries to live a normal moment, celebrating his son's birthday with Nura's family. But when his bank sends him details of the Munich payment source, he abruptly leaves, disappointing Nura. She drops him at the airport, but moments later, she spots him leaving in a taxi. Suspicion gnaws at her. Was her husband lying? Jackal heads straight to a hidden bank locker, where he's stashed cash and multiple passports. He grabs one identity and disappears. Meanwhile, Bianca digs deeper, studying Jackal's bag from the Munich assassination and analyzing the shot. She deduces the killer is British, likely ex-military. In Munich, Leonora meets Jackal in a quiet garden. She hands him 20 million euro up front, but warns him the job must be finished by the 28th. Their code names are set: Rodin for UDC, Jackal for the sniper. Jackal investigates further and makes a shocking discovery. The Munich payment came from a company linked to Hans Lange and Elias Fest. The truth hits him. Manfred Fest's own son, Elias, ordered his father's death. Disguised as an old man, Jackal enters a funeral parlor, asking the director for advice on what to do with his late wife's house. Playing the grieving widower, he listens as the director gently offers counseling to help him cope with his loss. At the funeral parlor, Jackal fakes a migraine. The director, concerned, runs down to Jackal's car to fetch medicine. Alone in the office, Jackal moves quickly. He installs remote access software on the computer, gaining a backdoor into private files. By the time the director returns, Jackal is already gone. Through the hacked computer, Jackal uncovers key details about Manfred Fest's funeral and spots the name of Elias's driver, Stefan Wolf. From his hideout, he calls Nura. She presses him, asking if he's seeing another woman. Jackal denies it, insisting he loves only her. But back home, Nura's suspicion grows. She discovers a hidden safe in his study. Unable to open it, she digs deeper, studying the blueprints of their house. With her brother and mother's help, she forces open a hidden room, and what she finds shatters her world. Piles of cash, passports under false names, weapons, even prosthetics. Unknown to her, Jackal watches the entire discovery through a hidden camera. The next morning, Jackal puts his plan into motion. Disguised as Stefan, he kills the real driver and takes his place. When Elias climbs into the car, unaware, Jackal drives him away. Once they're alone, Elias admits the truth. He had hired Jackal to kill his father but withheld payment after being shot. Listening calmly, Jackal sneers. It's not about the money. Fuck you. He shoots Elias dead, plants a bomb in the car, and vanishes. Moments later, the explosion rips through the streets of Munich. On the road to France, Jackal's luck runs thin. Distracted, he crashes into a truck. The furious driver signals a nearby police patrol. The officer checks Jackal's documents and notices his car came from Munich. Suspicion rises. He orders Jackal to open the trunk. Inside lies a gun. Before the officer can react, Jackal pulls the trigger. In seconds, both the cop and the truck driver are dead. From his car, Jackal calls Nura, asking her to meet him in Paris. Shaken from her earlier discovery, she hesitates but agrees. Later, Jackal wipes his car clean of evidence and books a hotel room. When Nura arrives, her emotions boil over. She slaps him, demanding the truth. Jackal spins a story. He claims he's a troubleshooter for corporations, solving problems through espionage. He admits to using false identities but insists he never kills. Looking her in the eye, he swears he has never lied about loving her or their son. Nura, terrified, listens as he promises that after this one last job, they'll finally have the life they dream of. On the other side of Europe, Ula Dog Charles, UDC, swims leisurely at his private island in Croatia. His security warns him about a contract on his life, begging him not to leave. But UDC doesn't care. His only obsession is launching River. The software, he believes, will change the world. He refuses to hide. Later, Leonora calls Jackal. She informs him that UDC will attend the launch event in Tallinn on the 28th. Jackal travels there, blending into the crowd at a concert, scouting the very arena where UDC's destiny will be decided. During the UDC launch concert, Jackal scouts rooftops for the perfect sniping spot, but the roof beneath him suddenly shifts, leaving him dangling from electrical wires and barely escaping death. His phone drops into the crowd, but after the concert he manages to retrieve it with the help of a worker named Rasmus. Back at his hotel, Jackal is stunned to find Leonore waiting for him. For the first time, she finally sees his face. She warns him not to cross the powerful clients backing this mission, even revealing she knows about Norman Stokes. To prove her seriousness, she vows to shadow him until the assassination of UDC is complete. Meanwhile, Bianca presents a briefcase recovered from Stokes to her superiors. Piece by piece, she assembles it into a sniper rifle, proving how the assassin could hide his weapon in plain sight. She suspects Manfred's killer used the same trick. Ordered to investigate further, Bianca sends her colleague Damon to gather records of all past and present military snipers. Later, Bianca faces interrogation from Carver, who questions her loyalty and whether she warned Norman. She denies it and walks away, but Osita soon tells her there's a mole inside the agency. He urges her to trust no one. Soon after, Damon delivers a list of snipers, while another colleague uncovers a number in Norman's phone. It belonged to someone using the codename Jackal. Osita pulls Bianca aside once again. His sources say Jackal has been hired for another kill, possibly targeting someone named Redden. The pressure to catch him mounts. Bianca's only lead comes from George Hans, a sniper enthusiast, who mentions an incredible marksman, Alexander Dugan, though he supposedly died years ago. While chasing leads, Bianca is ambushed by Larry, who tries to stab her. She barely survives thanks to her former partner Vincent, though Allison, another agent, is later found murdered by Larry. Shaken, Bianca asks Isabella to officially reinstate Vincent on her team, and permission is granted. That night, Bianca comes home to a nightmare. Larry has taken her daughter Jasmine hostage. She shoots him in the leg and almost kills him, but Jasmine stops her. In the hospital, she and Vincent pressure Larry into revealing Norman's location, Budapest. Meanwhile, Jackal contacts Norman, requesting a custom weapon that can bypass metal detectors. Norman, injured and unable to work alone, accepts Jackal's help. When Jackal arrives in Budapest, Norman welcomes him and shows his hidden arsenal, triggering Jackal's old army memories. Jackal presents his idea, concealing a sniper rifle inside a metallic boot. Norman finds it brilliant, and they begin 3D printing the weapon. As they work, Norman admits he was shot in Belarus by a black British woman but claims he doesn't know who warned him. Jackal doubts his honesty and warns him to keep quiet. The next morning, Jackal tries on the weaponized boot, preparing for what's next. Norman carefully assembles the rifle piece by piece, while Jackal heads into the nearby woods to test it out. Norman warns him that the weapon can only fire 8 shots before breaking down. At the same time, Vincent informs Bianca that they've tracked Norman's location. The team races toward him. Jackal, meanwhile, calibrates the rifle by shooting at a watermelon. On his way back, he notices Bianca's car heading toward Norman's place. He quickly hides in a cafe and manages to warn Norman to clean up and escape, but it's too late. Bianca and her team storm the place. After a brutal shootout, Norman is captured. Bianca pushes for answers, but before Norman can speak, Jackal silences him with a bullet to the head. Knowing Jackal is nearby, Bianca's team gives chase. Jackal escapes on horseback and picks off her men one by one. Cornered, he dives into a river as Bianca unloads her weapon into the water. Unsure if he's dead, she grows frustrated, but Jackal resurfaces later, only to be knocked out and tied up by a local farmer, Attila, who discovers the hidden rifle. Attila calls his friends Gabby and Laszlo, hoping to cash in on the stranger. Jackal offers them money for freedom, but when they hesitate, he kills Gabby and forces Laszlo to help him. Meanwhile, Bianca investigates Norman's workshop, where authorities inform her of 2 bodies found on a farm. She and Vincent rush there, but Jackal has already vanished. On the road, Jackal forces Laszlo to drive him to Budapest. He warns Laszlo to keep quiet, sparing his life. Exhausted, Jackal calls Nura, whom he calls by her real name, Charlie, and apologizes for dragging her into his chaos. She insists on coming to him despite his protests. Back in London, MI6 launches Operation Anubis, ordering Bianca and Vincent to return immediately. Reluctantly, Bianca obeys, even though she feels she's close to catching Jackal. Meanwhile, across the sea in Croatia, Charles, better known as UDC, prepares for River's release in 4 days, angering his shareholders but asserting his control. Finally, Nura arrives in Budapest and meets Jackal in a hotel, handing him the materials he needs for his next disguise. Nuria helps Jackal disguise himself as a frail old man and pushes him through the airport in a wheelchair. She boards a plane back to Spain, while Jackal books a flight to Talon, the city where UDC is preparing for his big launch. At MI6, Osha learns about UDC's travel plans and quickly informs Isabel. Realizing Jackal will be there too, they send Bianca and Vincent to Talon. On the flight, Jackal is surprised to see the 2 agents seated right beside him. Later that night, when he checks into a hotel, the police come knocking about a burglary upstairs. Though Jackal plays it cool, one officer grows suspicious and takes down his details. Feeling the heat, Jackal reaches out to Rasmus, a local contact, and the two grab drinks. Their night ends in Rasmus' apartment. The next morning, Jackal meets Leonora in a library. He tells her MI6 agents have followed him to Talon and asks for her help in eliminating them. Meanwhile, Bianca and Vincent set up base at the British Embassy, working on Operation Anubis. Using Bianca's description, a sketch artist creates an image of Jackal. Elsewhere, UDC's head of security warns him against traveling due to safety risks, but UDC refuses, determined to push forward with his launch. Back in Talon, Jackal continues pretending to be an architect. Rasmus, unaware of his true identity, helps him access the concert venue and even provides a security badge. Jackal scopes out the interior and finds a hidden spot to stash himself during the event. In Spain, Nuria's family grows worried. Her brother Alvaro pressures her into letting him borrow money from Charles's secret stash. Greedy, he steals more than agreed, and even takes a gun. Watching secretly through his cameras, Jackal sees everything unfold. That evening, Rasmus sneaks Jackal into the venue before the concert. Jackal pretends it's his last look at the blueprints but actually hides gear for his plan. Meanwhile, Bianca and Vincent are ambushed outside the embassy by gunmen. They barely escape and, with backup soldiers, raid Jackal's Airbnb, only to find it empty. Jackal has been staying with Rasmus the whole time. Night falls. Jackal sneaks into the concert unnoticed, carrying his equipment. He hides in the rafters, planning to stay there for 2 days. The Anubis team spreads Jackal's sketch around the city, and UDC's security team begins locking down the venue. Despite heavy checks, Jackal evades detection. The day of the launch arrives. The venue is packed, with every corner swarming with guards, agents, and police. From London to New York, the world is watching. UDC is introduced on stage as cheers erupt. Hidden above the crowd, Jackal crawls into position, rifle in hand, waiting for his chance to strike once UDC steps clear of the bulletproof glass. During UDC's big event, chaos erupts when one of his own security guards suddenly tries to shoot him. The attempt fails, but in the commotion Jackal also takes his shot and misses. Bianca and Vincent immediately realize Jackal is in the crowd. With no choice, Jackal abandons his plan and slips out. As he's leaving, he's spotted by Rasmus, who rushes over, trying to talk to him. Jackal coldly snaps his neck, leaving his body by the roadside before disappearing into the night. The story then flashes back to 2013 in Afghanistan, where Jackal, real name Alexander Dugan, was a sniper in the British Army. Alongside his spotter Gary, he waited patiently for the perfect shot. Back in the present, Leonor's team faces their furious boss, Winthrop, who believes they've wasted their only chance to kill UDC. Meanwhile, Bianca and Vincent uncover Jackal's hideout and find the custom sniper rifle Norman built. They also discover that a second shooter, posing as UDC's own security, left behind a manifesto accusing UDC of using River for control, not for good. In Croatia, UDC rages at the betrayal within his own staff, declaring Jackal is the least of his problems if his own men can't be trusted. At MI6, Bianca digs deeper. With help from her colleague Damien, she gets hold of Alexander Dugan's heavily censored military file, classified far beyond top secret. She suspects Dugan and his unit committed something the Ministry of Defense desperately wants buried. Another flashback reveals Dugan's unit taking out a Taliban compound, celebrating afterward with heavy drinking. That night, a man approached them, offering money for a contract kill. Gary refused, but Dugan couldn't get the idea out of his head. Later, the two carried out a job in Turkey, proving themselves as mercenaries for hire. Back in the present, Nura and her brother Alvaro see reports of Jackal on the news. Alvaro studies the sketch and is convinced Jackal is actually Charles, Nura's husband. When she calls him, Charles begs her to keep Alvaro quiet, confirming her worst fears. Furious, Nura demands the truth when he returns home. Meanwhile, Bianca faces her own troubles. At home, her daughter Jasmine confronts her with rumors that Bianca killed a girl. Bianca denies it, but doubts linger. Another flashback shows the darkest chapter of Dugan's past. On an extraction mission in Afghanistan, he and Gary provided overwatch while their unit stormed a compound. What was supposed to be a rescue turned into a massacre. Civilians were gunned down mercilessly. Dugan tried to stop them, horrified by the bloodbath, but the team silenced him. Their leader ordered everyone to keep quiet as they celebrated the destruction, covering their crimes under the name of war. Back in the present, the team celebrates, but Dugan and Gary look distant and upset. Meanwhile, Bianca visits Larry in jail. He lashes out at her, accusing her of making false promises. Larry insists he lies and kills for his own reasons, and that Bianca is no different. When she apologizes for Emma and Allison, Larry coldly tells her she's even sicker than him. Then, in a shocking moment, he slits his throat with a smuggled razor. Bianca screams for help, but he dies in front of her. Shaken, she finds comfort in Vincent, who reminds her that her job is about protecting people. Soon after, Victor tells her she's been granted access to Alexander Dugan's file. Inside a secure conference room, OA warns them the file must stay there and requires an NDA. The file reveals Dugan was a skilled sniper in a covert Afghan unit, officially killed in an explosion with his men, but Bianca doubts he's really dead. Isabel pushes OA to hand the file over, but before anything else, Carver drags OA away. In a flashback to Afghanistan, we see the truth. Dugan planted a bomb that blew up his entire unit, sparing only Gary. He convinces Gary to disappear with him. Meanwhile, in Croatia, security around UDC is tighter than ever after the assassination attempt. Jackal is there too, watching. Leonore finds him and reminds him that only 48 hours remain before the launch of River. She presses him to finish the job. UDC, unfazed, takes his usual swim, surrounded by guards. Afterward, he orders his partner to launch River even if he dies, though his partner warns the board won't approve without him. In London, Bianca questions Captain Mike Baldwin, a dying veteran who once served with Dugan. At first, he refuses to talk, but she learns from him that Dugan had a close bond with his spotter, Gary, who may still be alive. When Bianca shares this with Isabel, Isabel shuts her down, saying Jackal's investigation is closed and resources are needed elsewhere. Bianca pleads, but Isabel won't listen. To make matters worse, Carver starts investigating OA as the mole inside the agency. Jackal returns to Spain, checks his hidden vault of false identities, and later spends time with his young son. But outside, Nuria spies on him through a baby monitor. When he leaves his son's room, she confronts him, demanding the truth. Jackal admits he's a professional killer. Surprisingly, Nuria accepts it, saying they can finally have an honest conversation. Bianca, frustrated, seeks OA at the gym, but he pushes her away, saying the investigation is over. Later, she visits her husband Paul, hoping to fix their marriage. He doubts her intentions, believing she only came because of work trouble. In Spain, Jackal promises Nuria he's quitting, but admits he has one last mission that requires 24 hours. She's heartbroken. The next day, her brother Alvaro shows up, bragging that he's made a deal with a Cuban gangster, Jimmy Tiguero, and roped Charles, Jackal, in as a partner. Nuria is furious, knowing it's dangerous. Jackal agrees to handle it. Alvaro is thrilled, but Jackal has his own plan. Borrowing a boat from a fisherman friend, he lines up a sniper shot and kills Jimmy from nearly a mile away, while Jimmy waits at a restaurant. With that, Jackal sets sail for Croatia. The next morning, Bianca wakes to news of the gangster's assassination. The precision of the kill makes it clear it was the Jackal. Jackal is suspected to be behind multiple high-profile killings. In Croatia, he hires a boat under the pretense of bird watching, but once at sea, he kills the boat owner and sets up his sniper rifle with a stabilized rig to ensure an accurate shot. Although UDC security spots his boat, it is outside the 2-mile protected perimeter, so they initially ignore it. UDC wakes up and insists on following his morning routine, including a swim, despite his partner's concerns. While swimming, Jackal takes action. A jet ski approaches him, which he neutralizes by shooting the rider. UDC's security realizes there's a sniper, but it's too late. Jackal shoots UDC in the head as he tries to reach the shore and quickly escapes in his boat, pursued by security. Meanwhile in Spain, Nuria receives a call that her brother has been taken in for questioning over a gangster's murder. Jackal continues evading authorities in Croatia but collides with a police officer during a high-speed chase. He narrowly escapes, stealing a truck at gunpoint to continue his escape. Back home, Bianca visits her husband Paul, telling him she is leaving MI6 to focus on family. Jackal, meanwhile, gets a lift from an elderly couple, planning to cross into Montenegro. At night, a confrontation occurs. The wife panics and stabs him, forcing Jackal to kill both the elderly couple in self-defense. Despite this, he calls Nuria, expressing his love and planning a future escape together. Nuria senses danger and tells him to return home safely. The next morning, Bianca and Vince arrive in Spain, suspecting Jackal or someone close to him is in the country. Jackal abandons the couple's van via explosion and crosses the Montenegro border on a tour bus. Bianca and Vince investigate Alvaro's connection to Jackal at the police station and uncover critical leads. Jackal reaches Spain, contacts Leonore for payment, but she senses something is wrong. Her team had planned to eliminate her. While Bianca and Vince stake out Jackal's home, Nuria panics and flees with her son, taking cash from Jackal's secret room. Jackal returns to find the house empty, receives a warning call from Leonore, and begins packing to escape again. In a tense confrontation inside the house, Alvaro drunkenly pulls a gun and is killed. Jackal locks himself in a safe room. Bianca sets off a fire alarm to lure him out, but Jackal shoots Vince and kills Bianca after a struggle. He tries to escape but is hit by a speeding car. Days later, Isabel is promoted to MI6 chief, and OSA discovers a text from Bianca confirming Isabel as the mole, but he deletes it. Jackal, still alive, meets Leonore in Budapest. She wants revenge for unpaid fees, and Jackal agrees but prioritizes finding his family before disappearing into the crowd.